Yeah, and then V is I sub Z. Okay, so for example, today we have the pedal like this one. Okay, G sub 1, G sub 2, G sub 3. Here, that is the V sub S. Okay, plus minus. Okay, so V sub S, okay, that is the plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus. So right there, V sub G sub 1, V sub G sub 2, so V sub G sub 3. So V sub S is the AC, the input source. That is the AC, the input source, okay? Hold a second, I'm gonna double check. Okay, all right, now recording, okay, makes sense. So V sub S, V sub G sub 1 here, because write this one, can you see that? This is maybe I sub T. The I sub T is like the total current. Even could you see that? It's okay. Okay, thank you. Oh, it's fine. So the V sub S is equal to V sub G sub 1 plus V sub G sub 2. Are you agree with me? It's fine. The Hollis is fine. So means V sub G sub 1 plus V sub G sub 3, because V sub G sub 2 is equal to V sub G sub 3. All right. Any question? So that's right there, here. The V sub G sub 2, V sub G sub 3, the same. Okay. Why? Because they are two, the impedance are connect in parallel. Okay. So V sub G sub 1 plus V sub G sub 2 is equal to V sub G sub 1 plus V sub G sub 3, because they is the same. So what is the total the impedance from this circuit? What is the total impedance from this circuit? So G sub 1, the plus, G sub 2, the pedal, the G sub 3. Okay, that is very important. Okay, so G sub 1 plus G sub 2 plus G sub 3, and G sub 2 multiply G sub 3. Okay, and G sub 2 plus G sub 3, G sub 1, G sub 2 plus G sub 3 plus G sub 2 multiply G sub 3. Okay, so that was the total the impedance. So from the AC circuit, the hybrid circuit, why? Because that is the series, but that are in the not in the series, there is a parallel. So to series and the parallel, the combined together is the hybrid circuit. So for this case, it's really similar in the DC circuit, okay? And G sub 1, G sub 2, G sub 3, sometime the G sub R, sometime G sub L, sometimes the G sub C. So it means X sub R 0, X sub L 90, X sub C minus 90. That is R 0, X sub L, J. Very important, J, not minus J. X sub C minus J. X sub C minus J. Why? Because the minus 90 degree. Hey, Fraser, why that was the minus 90 degree? You can go back to the chapter 1, okay? So now I'm gonna see the making for YouTube for the H circuit. I mean, for the each topic. For example, how can we make the calculator phasor and rectangular? You know, what is the leading or lagging in the sinusoidal waveform? What is the maybe impedance? Kind of, you know what I mean? Really, the basic, the concept of the H circuit. So you can go to the YouTube. You can see if you have any maybe issue to require the review again. So that is the, you know, G sub R, G sub L, G sub C. It was the potential for the basic 3 elements. It could be G sub 1, G sub 2, G sub 3 from the system of circuit. And then the next one is the I sub T, just like this one. I sub T, you know, I sub T is what? V sub S, the divided, the total, the impedance, because the I sub T is the total current. Okay. So from here, that is I sub T, that is I sub G sub 2, that is I sub G sub 3. Okay. So I sub G sub 2, okay, I'm gonna rewriting for you here. So here, so I sub G sub 2, just like this one here, is G sub 2 plus G sub 3, G sub 3 multiply and I sub T. Okay, just right there. Like this one, split out. That is the current divider rule here. And then the I sub G sub 3 is equal to G sub 2 plus G sub 3 over G sub 2 multiply I sub T. Okay. All right. That is I sub G sub 3. So right there. And then here, maybe I sub T, just right there, here, is equal to I sub G sub 2 plus I sub G sub 3. Is equal to I sub G sub 2 plus I sub G sub 3. Okay. All right. Yeah, that is really the basic but very important things from the hybrid circuit. Yes. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So I was the recording, and I'm gonna maybe unloading the YouTube or, you know, whatever, and then I will share with the link. Okay, until tonight maybe. So if you have the missing whatever, go to the YouTube, you know, and then send the email. Okay, if you have any questions, so that we can meet by the online. Okay, so hey, Fraser, I have a few questions. Maybe can I meet with you, because I live far from away from your office. So yeah, we have the Zoom meeting, you know, but yeah, not Saturday, not Saturday, you know, very unfortunate, you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. All right. Any question? Okay. Maybe lunch is okay, but you know, not it's up to you, but okay. All right, so I have a really simple questions. Okay, oops. Okay, the simple questions. That is the V sub S. From the symbol, we can you know, recognize that is the AC sources. Okay, that was 3 ohm. Okay, 3 ohm. Okay, this is X sub R. This is X sub L. The 2 ohm. That is X sub C is also 2 ohm here. Okay. And that was I sub T. Okay. And that was I sub X sub L and I sub X sub C. Definitely that is the total current. So I sub T is I sub X sub L plus I sub X sub C here. Okay. So the question 1, what is the G sub T? And the question 2, what is for I sub T? And question 3, what is V sub X sub R? And question 4, what is X sub L? Okay. And question 5, what is V sub X sub C? Okay. Okay, the 5 minutes. Okay, the 5 minutes. You can do this. 5 minutes. All right. That is the sample questions, 5 minutes. Okay, you're gonna try. If you have any questions, then raise your hand. I'm gonna help you. Okay. Time is it? Okay, 11:27. It's only gonna wait. Oh, we're gonna. What's our source voltage? Oh, I'm sorry about that. Just why source voltage? Yes, that is to the 10 volt. Yeah, 0. Sorry about that. All right. So right there. So whenever you can see your friends, the hybrid circuit, okay, in your quiz, in your exam, whatever, you have, step one, you have to find the G sub T. The G sub T is the total impedance. Don't confusing R, don't confusing L, C, X sub R, X sub L, X sub C, and G sub R, G sub L, and G sub C. Okay. Don't confusing, okay? They are different. They are different. So right there, okay, here we go. Step by step. So the question one, what is the G sub T? Maybe again, that is the 3 ohm here. That was the 2 ohm for reactance for the inductor. That is also X sub C is reactance for the capacitor. Okay. So for this case here, G sub T. Okay, I'm just more minus for you. Ready? All right. So G sub T is G sub R plus G sub L are in the parallel and G sub C here. Okay. Just right there. So what is the G sub R? The G sub R 3, 0. Why? Because here, 3 ohm reactance for resistor. Actually, that is the same for resistor here, right? So 3 ohm, 0. And what is the G sub L? The G sub L, X sub L, 90. And G sub C, X sub C minus 90 degree. So 3, 0 degree is the 3, same thing. And in with X sub L is what? the 2 ohm here. So maybe X of L, the 2 ohm, 90. And also X of C is equal to the 2 ohm here, to minus 90 degree here. So 3 plus 2, 90 plus 2 minus 90, 2, 90 multiply 2 minus 90 degree here. Okay. So from here, go to the next step is kind of just the math. Okay. 3, the plus the 2j minus 2j. The 90j minus 190 minus j. Okay. And 4, 2 multiply 90 minus 90. 90 minus 90. So that is the 0, right? 3 ohm. The answer is like 3 ohm. Okay. All right, that's right there. So the question 1 is the answer is like 3 ohm. Okay. So now we're gonna write in 3 ohm here. So the question 2, what is the I sub t? Just right there, here. What is the I sub t? The I sub t is total current, okay? So the total current, V sub S divided G sub t. The V sub S is what? The 10 volt, the peak voltage. The 10 volt divided the G sub t, the 3 ohm. Okay? So means 3.3 amp. The answer is 3.3 amp here. Okay. All right. The question 3, what is V sub X of R? What is V sub X of R? Students has mistake always in the quiz lab, that's the exam. For example, V sub X of R, like this one? No, why? I times G sub R. Okay? It's different. Maybe X sub R is what? 3 ohm. The G sub R, 3, the phase, 0. Well, for this case, it's the same, but usually not XR. Okay? For the AC circuit, I times Z. I times X, etc. But some students has mistake in the exam in the other campus, like this one. No, no. Okay, I times Z. That is phase model. But anyway, it's kind of this one. Okay. So next one, maybe that is the I sub t times X. X is the 3. So 3.3 times the 3, 9.9 volt. 9.19 volt. I'm sorry, that is for the question 3. Okay. Any question? Okay. So the question 4, what is the I sub X of L? What is the I sub X of L? So right there, I sub X of L is G sub L plus G sub C over G sub C multiply I sub T. Very important. Not X sub L. Not X sub L. You can use all of them, the G sub L, G sub C. Why? Because there is the AC circuit, not DC circuit. Okay. the impedance. Z is the impedance. X is reactance. So for this case here, the G sub C is like this one, 2 minus 90. And same thing right there, 2 minus 90. And G sub L, I'm sorry, G sub L here, 290. So that is the 0. Why? Because minus 2J plus the 2J minus the 2J. So maybe I sub X sub L, 0. 0. Okay. There's the open circuit. Okay. And then what is the V sub X sub C? That is the open circuit. Okay, that is the open circuit, means should be the same like this one. So 10 volt. Okay. All right. Any question? That one here. Here, the left side. Oh, I'm sorry. 0, 0. Yeah. Special case. Okay, special case. All right. So I hope so. The last questions for today. Yeah, here we go. Slide. Okay, we can go back to slide. Okay. All right, that is the last one. I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna I think that was not in the slide. Okay, just I'm gonna write in here for you. All right, stop sharing here. Okay, so I'm gonna have the writing for the question. I think if you have the print out the last questions, okay? The last question is for the circuit and V sub 1 over T. V sub 1 over T is equal to 10 cosine 400T. Okay. And then the circuit is like this one. L 5 milliamp. C is 220 microfarad, and R is the 10 ohm. So the question is, what is the I sub C here? What is the I sub C? Okay, but keep in mind that is not X sub L. That is the not X sub C. Okay, this is the L and C. And V sub 1 is AC sources, like this one here. So from here, that was the angular frequency 2 pi f is 400. And V sub 1, the amplitude is what? The 10 volt. Okay. So, but 10 minutes, okay? What is the current, the passing through the capacitor? Okay. I'm gonna give you the hint. That is same thing, I sub t here, okay? All right. And that was I sub L. So I sub t is I sub L plus I sub C. Just by the current divide the rule here, okay? Okay, 10 minutes. So today we have the lab 5, you know, because the before spring break we have some issue, the capacitor issue. We did not finish. Okay, so we're gonna keep the lab 5, and the Wednesday we have the lab maybe 6. I don't know, the 4th maybe analog device 2, analog device 1, and then the A circuit. Today we finished the chapter 2. Okay, the Wednesday. We will learn about the chapter 3, the AC power and power factor. Okay. Okay. All right. So, all right, the step by step. So maybe, as I said before, maybe any circuit, any circuit, step 1. Any circuit, step 1, you have to find what is the G sub T from the circuit, from the AC circuit. Sometime, can you see that right there? Sometime X sub L, sometime is L. Okay, but now is L. Can you see right there? L, X sub L. Finally, we can find the G sub L. So right there, step by step, the L 5 milli what Henry, right? What is the X sub L? The X sub L 2 pi L. The angular frequency is L. What is the angular frequency? What is the angular frequency? Go back to the questions right there. Do you remember in the chapter 1, if you still missing or you cannot remind of you can go back to chapter 1 lecture or my YouTube. You can check. Okay? So just right there. What general format of sinusoidal or cosine, that is the 2 pi ft. Right there. So go back here. That was what? 400. Okay. So 400 multiply the L. What is the L? 5 milli, the Henry. So that was 2000 milli ohm, 2 ohm. Any question? Why? Because that was the milli. The milli is the 10 to minus the 3. It's right there, 10 to minus 3. Okay? Here. The 2 ohm. So finally, the G sub L, the X sub L, 90. So maybe X sub L, the 2 ohm, 90. Okay. All right. Now, the next one, we have to, step 1 to find the maybe G sub T, we have to make a conversion or component to the Z. Okay. Z. So right there, C, X sub C, and G sub C here. Okay. Oops. C, X sub C, and G sub C. Okay. So C is from the circuit 220 microfarad here. And what is the X of C? The X of C, do you remember like this one? 1 over 2 pi FC. Okay. So that was 1 over angular frequency C here. And angular frequency is what? From the questions, 400 here. So 1 over 400 times C is right there, 220 microfarad. So maybe I'm gonna using the calculator here. As I know, we have a different type. Oops. 1 over 400 multiply 220 multiply 10 to minus 6. So that was the 125, just right there. And then we're gonna the digital, the type, the 11.36. So the 11.36. Okay, 11.36 the ohm. So what is that? That was the X sub C here. So now finally the G sub C, X sub C minus 90 degree here, 11.36 minus 90 degree. Okay. So we can redraw the circuit from the previous the calculation. here. G sub R 10, okay, and G sub L is what? 290, and that is the capacitor. Okay, the capacitor G sub C is the 11.36 minus 90 degree here. Okay, and the V sub 1 over T is 10 times cosine 400 the T here. All right, so we're done. Step one. Step one, make a conversion or the three basic elements which consist of the hybrid, the AC circuit, to make a G sub R and G sub L and G sub C. Okay. Now we are looking for the total, the impedance. That is a step two. Okay. What is for the total the impedance? We have the long before the total the impedance G sub R and G sub L and G sub C. Okay. It's right there. So the G sub R is what? That is the 10 here. Okay, and then the G sub L 290, and then G sub C the 11.36 minus 90 degrees. So that is also, we're gonna have the writing here 2J minus and 11.36 the J and 2J multiply minus J 11.36. Okay, so right there 10 plus minus 9.36 the J here, and 11 point multiply 2 is what? 22.7, because the J multiply J multiply J is like the minus 1 multiply the minus is like plus. Okay, so that is the 22.7 here. So that was also J multiply the numerator and the denominator. J multiply J, the minus 1. Okay, so the plus 9.36, 22.7 J. So 10 plus, I'm gonna do some calculator here. 22.7 divided, oops, yeah, 22.7 divided 6. Here we go. So 2.4. Okay, so 2.4. So 2.4 J. So the total the impedance, the 10 plus the 2.4 J. So we have to make a convergence, shift the polar form 10, shift the comma and 2.4. Okay, closing and enter. Okay, so the R, it's right there. Okay. Oops. Okay, R is like the 10, and the theta is the 13 point, well, it's like 13.5 degree. Okay, so the answer is like the G sub T, the 10, 13.5. Hey, Professor, why do you have to calculate the G sub T? Because we have to looking for I sub T here, right there. Okay. So I sub T is equal to V sub 1 divided G sub T. Okay. V sub 1 is what? The 10. The theta is like the 0. So right there, the 10, 0. Okay, that makes sense? That is the theta is like the 0 plus the 0. Theta. And then the G sub T is what? We have already calculated. So just right there, 10, 13.5. So I sub T minus 13.5 degree here. Okay. That is the I sub T. That is the I sub T. Okay. So any questions so far? That is 1 minus 13.5. So this is the step 3 to find the I sub T here. Okay. The last step, step 4, we have to find, the question is the I sub C. Okay. That is what we wanted to find it. So how can we find this one to find the I sub C? The I sub C is the total current. Oops. Right there. So maybe I sub T multiply G sub L plus G sub C E over the G sub C. Okay. So I sub T, we have already calculated 1 minus 13.5, and G sub L, we have already calculated the before. Where is it? Just right there. 290. And the G sub C, oh, I'm sorry, this is maybe G sub L. Okay. G sub L. To find I sub C, I sub T multiply G sub L over G sub L plus G sub C, G sub L, the 290 degree, and then the G sub C is the 11.36 minus 90 degree. Okay, so maybe 11.36 minus 90 degree here. Oh, I'm sorry, that's right there. Okay, and then 290 because this is Y. This is the formula. Okay. So yeah, so that is the maybe only the calculated minus 13.5 multiply 290, and that is the 2J minus 11.36 the J on minus 13.5 multiply minus 9.36 J and 2J because the 9 degree, the J. Okay. So right there. So 1 minus 13 point multiply minus 9.36 J to J, remove this one, and 2 divided 9.36, 0. Okay, 1 minus 13.5, 0.21 minus 0.21. So minus 0.21, 13.5. Okay. That is the answer. Okay. All right, any questions?